Jesus didn't say love your neighbor full stop. He said love your neighbor as yourself, which means there are actually three relationships in those two commandments: God, others, and you. Okay, so last week we left with a question. We talked about the two greatest commandments: love God and love your neighbor. And then we noticed something everybody always skips over. Jesus didn't say love your neighbor full stop. He said love your neighbor as yourself, which means there are actually three relationships in those two commandments: God, others, and you. And we said the second most important relationship in your life after God is the one you have with yourself, because that relationship dominoes into every other relationship you have. We ended with an image. God is a shoveler. Shovels love, mercy, forgiveness, grace. He doesn't measure it out with a teaspoon. He just keeps shoveling. But here's what we said. Most of us celebrate the shovel. We sing about it, we preach about it, and then we hand it out with a teaspoon. And the reason we give with a teaspoon isn't about the other person, it's about us. It's because we haven't fully received the shovel ourselves. So today we're going to deal with that. Because if you don't get this right, everything else is going to be harder than it needs to be. So let me remind you what God has on record when He thinks about you. And I don't know what your ex said. I don't know what your parents said. I don't know what you've told yourself about your worst day. But here's what God says. He says, I love you, man. Not generically, not God love the world. You specifically. He's glad you're alive. God also said, I'm grateful for you. He's not disappointed He made you. He's not tolerating you. He actually appreciates you. You are a rare and beautiful treasure. You're rare because there's literally no one else like you. You are beautiful because God is woven into you. And God says, I forgive you. Your past, present, and future. Jesus only died once. He's not coming back to the cross. It's already done. And remember, God holds you to a high standard. He's not going to look the other way when you cut corners. You carry His DNA. He expects more, but He always gives grace. He holds you to a high standard and covers you with His mercy. Both. Not one or the other. And then this. God is saying, I have a specific calling for your life. You're not just grinding through another week. God has something specific for today. He is saying, I'm cheering you on, man. He believes in you. He's not waiting for you to fail. He's actively cheering you on. This is what God has said about you. It's not a pep talk. It isn't a fortune cookie. This is rooted in the real historical moment, the cross, the death, and the resurrection. And the question on the table is, do you believe it? So let's look at where John unpacks this in 1 John chapter 4, starting at verse 7. Dear friends, let us love one another, for love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. Whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. This is how God showed His love among us. He sent His one and only Son into this world that we might live through Him. This is love. Not that we loved God, but that He loved us and sent His Son as an atoning sacrifice for our sins. This same John also wrote that famous verse in the Bible that says, God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son? Now, did you catch that? John could have said, since God loved the world, but he didn't. He said, since God so loved the world. That so matters. For God so loved the world. We are talking here, we are talking about an extraordinary, over the top, all the way to Bethlehem and all the way to the cross measure of love. And here's the thing that blows up every concept of religion. This love, not that we love God, but that God loved us. None of our stories is one like, oh, I was such a devoted follower of Christ. I was so consistent. I was so spiritually disciplined. That's not our story. Our stories are, I ran. I did my own thing. I knew right and I did wrong. He said left and I went right. I knew God made the universe, but I was going to drive the car. Isn't that more our story? And yet God loved us anyway. Came all the way, anyway. Died anyway. Paid the price anyway. So, when God looks at you and He says, I love you, that's not just a feeling. That's not based on your mood or your performance. It's nailed to the cross. It is the most expensive statement ever made. So John writes, since God so loved us, we ought to love one another. And here's what becomes clear in that sentence. To the degree we have received the so, to that exact degree, we will love the people around us. If I'm not loving someone in my life well, if I'm giving out teaspoons, it's not their fault. It's a reflection of the fact that I haven't fully received what God has offered me. When I'm stingy with grace, it just means something's blocking me from receiving it. Johnny, but they don't deserve it. They stabbed me in the back. But they talked about me. They tried to take my promotion. They lied about me. And then I look in the mirror and I go, I was every single one of those things to God. I ran from Him. I chose myself over Him. I hurt Him. I was ungrateful. I was selfish. And God still loved me through Christ. And He is still cheering me on today. That's why I'm here. Because I haven't found anyone else in the entire universe with that kind of capacity to love someone who deserves the opposite. Now here's the part that sounds goofy at first, but please stay with me. There's two sides to this mirror. And if I'm going to take this seriously, if I've actually received the shovel, then at some point I have to be able to look at myself in that mirror and I have to say these words. Hey Johnny, I want you to know that I love you. I'm grateful for you. You are a rare and beautiful treasure. Johnny, I forgive you. I'm going to hold you to a high standard, but I'm also going to give you grace and mercy when you fail. Johnny, there's a specific calling for you today. And Johnny, I believe in you, man. I'm cheering you on. Now, for some of you, that felt radical, maybe even uncomfortable. Because it's not just like you don't love yourself, you actively dislike yourself. You're angry at yourself. Some of you are even hurting yourself. And someone might be sitting there right now thinking, Johnny, that's pride, man. I'm being humble when I say I'm not worth God's love. No, that's not humility. When you say you're not worth God's love, you are putting your opinion above God's. And that's pride, my friend. Inverted pride, but pride. Because God is on record. God has spoken. And when the Spirit opens your eyes and you actually see what Jesus did, you go, He gave His life for me. I'm that worth to God. And the moment you start agreeing with that, everything changes. And I want to camp on this forgiveness one for a second, because this is where a lot of us are stuck. I know God forgives me, but I just can't forgive myself. You've heard that. You might said it. I've said it. And here's the problem with that sentence. It actually sets you above God. It says, God has dealt with it. Jesus paid for it. It's finished. But I'm holding out. My standards are higher than the cross. That is not humility. That is one of the most subtle forms of pride there is. The power of the gospel is this. Jesus didn't come to make us better. He came to make us alive. And sin doesn't make us bad. It makes us dead. And dead people can't fix themselves. So when He says, I forgive you, the right response is to look in the mirror and say, the price is paid. You're free. I'm not keeping you locked up in something Jesus already unlocked. You don't have the power to forgive yourself. He had the power. He already did it. You're just agreeing with what already been done. Let me tell you about one of the most stressful moments I've ever heard of in a live worship event. Picture this. You've got 20,000 people in a basketball arena in Atlanta, and another 6,000 to 8,000 people in a second arena just across the street. It's like a satellite-linked event. So both bands are live. Both are on the same click track, the same beat in their earpieces, keeping both venues in perfect time. The plan is Chris Tomlin leads the opener in the main arena, and Matt Redman leads across the street. Both start at the exact same time, and then Lecrae, the rapper, he comes in live on both screens at the perfect moment in the song. It's a banger of an opening, if it works. So the song begins. Crowds go crazy. Everyone's worshiping. And then the front of the house sound engineer, the guy running the desk in Matt Redman's area, looks up at the screen, then the stage, then back at the screen, and the lyrics don't match. Matt lost the click when the song started. He was about 15 seconds behind Chris Tomlin. And in less than a minute, Lecrae is going to drop in on the screen at completely the wrong place in the song. Now this engineer is the only person in this building who knows a train wreck is coming. So he can't stop the song. He can't run up the stage. And he has only one option. A talk back button that goes straight into Matt Redman's earpiece. So while Matt is up there leading 8,000 people in worship, this guy started singing to him quietly, precisely, on the click, feeding him right into the right place of the song. So Matt Redman, who is an absolute genius, hears the correction in his ear, adjusts, and 10 seconds later, bam, Lecrae drops on both screens in perfect sync. Nobody in the crowd knew. The opening was flawless. All because of one guy got into Matt's ear with the right beat. Now here's why I'm telling you that. Some of you are off the click. You lost the beat. You drifted, maybe slowly over years. Maybe quickly after one really hard season. You're still singing, you're still showing up. But what's playing in your head doesn't match what God the Father is saying about you. You hear, I'm not good enough, I'm far gone. You hear, God must be disappointed. I can't forgive myself. I'm not worth much. And what God is saying is, I love you. I'm grateful for you. You're forgiven. You're called. I'm cheering you on. The Holy Spirit is in your ear. He is singing you back into the song. That's what this is. If you open your heart to it, it doesn't matter where you are in the song right now. He will put you back in the time with your Father. And when you get back on the click, when you actually believe what God says about you, that's when dominoes fall. That's when you stop giving teaspoons. That's when people around you start getting shovels. So here's where we land. Last week we asked, can God actually relate to you? And the answer was yes, because Jesus was here for 33 years. And last week we asked, what does God see when He looks at you? And the answer was, someone He loves, who He's grateful for, has forgiven, believes in, actively cheering on. Today's question is the most personal one yet. Do you believe it? Not in theory, not as a theology, but in the mirror, about yourself. Do you believe God thinks that of you? Because here's how you'll know. Not by how you feel in the room like this, but by what comes out in your relationships around you. So, a shovel or a spoon?